Tonight, the world holds its breath as President Trump delivers a primetime ultimatum to Iran. The atmosphere is electric, every word weighed with the gravity of potential war or peace. Newsrooms across the globe are abuzz, analysts scrambling to interpret the implications of this historic address. He's given Tehran 3 weeks to accept his terms for a total cessation of hostilities, or face consequences that could reshape history. The clock is ticking, and the world watches as Iran's leaders deliberate their next move under the glare of international scrutiny. The stakes are enormous. A fragile peace hangs by a thread, or the world could plunge into a conflict of unimaginable scale. Military forces across the region are on high alert, bracing for any sign of escalation. Trump's message is clear: the war is over, the US has won, and now diplomacy has a fleeting chance. He frames this as a moment of American triumph, but also as a rare opportunity for reconciliation if Iran chooses to seize it. The next 21 days will decide Iran's fate: negotiation and survival, or defiance and destruction. Ordinary Iranians go about their lives, but anxiety simmers beneath the surface as the nation faces a crossroads. Every major capital is watching, the world teetering on the edge. Diplomats and leaders from Europe to Asia are urgently conferring, aware that the outcome could redraw alliances and shift the balance of power. Months of conflict have led to this moment, with chaos in global markets and regional powers drawn in. Oil prices spike, investors panic, and the economic aftershocks ripple far beyond the Middle East. Trump's speech projected absolute strength, painting Iran as defeated and offering terms of surrender, not negotiation. The tone is uncompromising, leaving little room for ambiguity or backtracking. By setting a public deadline, he's cornered both himself and Iran's leaders. The world sees a high-stakes chess match, with every move scrutinized and every misstep potentially catastrophic. For Trump, anything less than capitulation risks his strategy's credibility. For Iran, surrender could mean humiliation. Both sides face immense pressure from their own people and the international community, with pride and survival on the line. The world now waits, uncertain, as millions hang in the balance of this dramatic showdown. Families, investors, and leaders alike are glued to their screens, counting down the days. The countdown has begun, and the next 3 weeks will shape the future for generations to come. President Trump opened his address to the nation by declaring what he called a stunning and historic military victory. He announced that Operation Persian Freedom, launched just weeks earlier, had, in his words, decisively dismantled Iran's offensive capabilities in a remarkably short time. According to Trump, US and allied forces worked in close coordination to neutralize Iran's naval assets, effectively eliminating threats to international shipping and regional stability. He further claimed that American airstrikes had crippled Iran's command centers and missile sites, leaving their military infrastructure in ruins. Trump emphasized that American casualties were remarkably low, attributing this to the overwhelming technological superiority and precision of US forces, while Iranian losses, he said, were catastrophic, with significant damage to their military assets and morale. The president framed these events as a powerful validation of his peace through strength doctrine, insisting that American resolve had brought swift results. Yet behind the triumphant rhetoric, questions linger. Independent verification of these claims remains scarce, with few outside observers able to confirm the full extent of the reported success. Critics and analysts warn that the victory may be less total than the administration claims, and that the situation on the ground is far more complex. Iran's capacity for unconventional warfare, including proxy groups and guerrilla tactics, as well as the potential for regional retaliation, remains a significant and unpredictable threat. Some suggest that Trump's declaration of victory may serve political purposes as much as military ones, especially with an election looming. The world is left to wonder if this conflict is truly over, or if the apparent calm is merely the prelude to further escalation and instability in the region, or if, in fact, we are just entering a new and uncertain phase of confrontation. At the heart of Trump's address, a 3-week ultimatum for Iran to avert further conflict, the pause allows US forces to regroup and signals overwhelming military readiness. Diplomatically, Trump offers talks, but only if Iran accepts non-negotiable demands, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, dismantling its nuclear program, and ending support for proxies. This is classic Trump: maximum pressure, minimal compromise. He's betting Iran will choose survival over annihilation. But forcing negotiations under threat could backfire, empowering Iranian hardliners. The short timeline leaves little room for nuanced diplomacy, raising the risk of catastrophic miscalculation. The world watches as the countdown to an uncertain outcome continues. If Iran refuses to comply with U.S. demands, President Trump has vowed to unleash a new phase of pressure, what he calls action at Trump speed, a rapid and uncompromising escalation unlike anything seen before. This strategy would not be limited to traditional military targets. Instead, it would expand to strike at the very heart of Iran's national infrastructure. Oil refineries, power grids, water supplies, and transportation networks would all be at risk. The foundations of daily life, energy, industry, and the systems that keep society running are now in the crosshairs, threatening to disrupt millions of ordinary lives. The underlying strategy is clear: cripple Iran's economy, create widespread hardship, and push the nation toward internal collapse, ultimately forcing its leaders to surrender or negotiate on U.S. terms. But this approach comes with enormous risks. It could plunge Iran's population into a severe humanitarian crisis, with shortages of food, medicine, and basic necessities. The shockwaves wouldn't stop at Iran's borders. Disrupting Iran's oil exports could send global energy prices soaring, destabilizing markets and threatening a worldwide recession. Destroying Iran's oil capacity could trigger a spike in gasoline prices everywhere, affecting economies from Asia to Europe and the Americas. Beyond the economic fallout, the threat raises grave moral and legal questions. International law prohibits targeting civilian infrastructure, and such actions are widely condemned as potential war crimes. Images of destroyed power plants and bombed cities would fuel outrage, as humanitarian organizations warn of collective punishment and suffering for innocent civilians. Critics around the world call this strategy collective punishment, arguing it crosses ethical lines and undermines international norms. Yet, supporters of the administration insist that such pressure is necessary to force change and protect American interests. This kind of escalation sets a dangerous precedent for future conflicts, making it easier for powerful nations to target civilian life as a tool of war. Trump's promise of speed is also a promise of a new, more terrifying kind of warfare, one that blurs the line between military and civilian targets. As tensions rise, the world watches anxiously, bracing for the unpredictable and far-reaching consequences that could reshape the global order. Tehran's response, unified defiance. Iranian media reject Trump's victory claims, framing the U.S. campaign as desperate aggression. Officials deny heavy losses, accusing Washington of psychological warfare. Instead of surrender, Iran issues stern warnings. Any further attacks will be met with crushing retaliation, possibly through regional proxies and global oil disruptions. Iran hasn't closed the door to talks, but demands the U.S. lift all sanctions and pay compensation, terms Washington rejects. For Iran's leaders, surrender is unthinkable. Resistance is a matter of national identity. They hope global outrage and economic fallout will pressure the U.S. to back down. The regime prepares its people for a long struggle, framing it as a sacred duty. The diplomatic impasse deepens. The world stands at a crossroads. 3 weeks to see if Trump's ultimatum brings peace or disaster. Is this coercive diplomacy's masterstroke, or a reckless gamble that could ignite a catastrophic war? If Trump is right, a historic breakthrough could stabilize the region and secure his legacy. If he's wrong, the result could be devastation on a scale unseen in generations. The fate of millions now rests on the decisions of a handful of leaders. As the clock ticks, back-channel diplomacy and global tension intensify. The world waits, hoping for wisdom over hubris. The countdown to history's next chapter has begun.